translates from Portuguese to that were originally used for drinking.
Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League in partnership with Venturi Studios. You arrive tonight for the finale of the Tier 1 League, the top tier of our equal performance. And it's going to be quite an interesting race tonight. Obviously, both championships are already won. So this is purely for other positions or a little bit of fun for some people. And the finale, which is always a good place to have a finale, is at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, otherwise known as Interlagos in Brazil. The old finale circuit before Abu Dhabi came into the calendar. And it's always a good one to end on. It should provide some really close action and plenty of opportunities for overtaking, especially with the two DRS zones, one down the main straight, one down the Reta Aposta into Decido del Lago. As per normal, we have ARL out first. He's running the medium compound of tyre in the Alfa Romeo. Those running. My name is JBH. My co-comms of Bruce will be here very shortly. He's in the lobby. He's just away from the microphone for a short little bit of time, so he'll be joining us during this qualifying session. But we got on board with ARL. So he heads up into the Senna S. I think we'll go. Someone who might be on a proper hot lap check. Here we go. So on board with Jack then, up into the Senna S, down to second frame. You want to keep it nice and tight on the first part to open at the second as you then head through the Curva de Sol at turn 3, which is absolutely flat. Open the DRS down the Reta Aposta. In the race about 100 metres away from the corner, down to fourth. Tuck it in through Decido del Lago, open up the steering wheel to go flat through turn 5, the second half of it. Towards 6 and 7, Ferragura and Lorena. Again, just get it tucked in, then you put the throttle back on, be careful of the crest. Into 8 and then down into Pinarino for 9. A difficult little corner that, you've got to be short shifting on the exit. Up towards Pico de Pato for turn 10. It looks a lot more open than it actually is. Magulio, flat, absolutely pinned left-hander, and then it sends you down into the famous Junsao. Turn 12. Don't take too much cover on the inside, you will spin the car. 13 is flat, 14 is flat, 15 is non-existent almost. It's this little flick left where the pit lane is. Keep it tight to the wall for the quickest run to the line, and it's going to be a 108.353 for Jack to start this session. Good evening, ARL. Hope you are well. Seeing Alpha still fighting for P5 in Constructors. Yeah, as I say, obviously the actual titles themselves obviously have been decided, but there are other places still to be decided, so it's all important. As Destiny puts himself into second, Louis in third. You've got Ashtube coming through. He did invalidate his lap. Maggot puts in a 108.9 on a set of mediums. That's not a bad time from the Red Bull. We have Ginger Tiger who crosses the line of 109.237. And Volcano puts in the provisional pole time of a 108.0. Who else do we have? I think that's everyone so far on circuit. Ashtube currently on another run on his medium compound of tyre. Flag, I think that might be Destiny. Or it could be Brando. Brando coming into the pits after almost like a sighter lap in the Nick Houston's go on board. Nick Houston up towards the Senna S we go. As much coverage there. Track limit's going to be an issue through there. The car does like to push out wide through the second part of the Senna S. down to Decida Delago. Stays in 5th, does Nick Houston. And head up towards Ferrajora and Lorania. Car looking pretty bolted here for Nick at the moment. As we head into turn 9 up towards Bico Tapato. Now the brakes down to 3rd, get it tucked in. Critical you go up the gears from Maguglia, otherwise you could end up spinning the car. Jun Sao not touching the curb, using all the curb on the outside though. Towards the line. Nick Houston, it's going to be a 1 minute 7.852 provisional pole position for the reserve driver in that McLaren. I think Ashtube's going to be coming into the pits. Yes, he is. In the Alfa Romeo. Reshka could be on a lap here on the soft compound tyres. See the back of the car. Yes, he's using hot lap mode. Good evening, Skizo or Tirak / Omar. Hope you are well. Waiting to see what sort of pace you got tonight, because you very good pace at Mexico last week. But here comes Reshka for his first proper flying lap. It's a 108.3, so 4th place. Reshka's got a bit of pace about him tonight, which is good to see. Hopefully you get a good result for the likes of Reshka. Looks like Ryan just preparing for his first attempt. The nice part about this circuit is not a long lap around Interlagos. Ryan coming up towards the start line. The stopwatch starts. What's this first sector? You've got the McLaren of Volcano getting out of the way. 17.1 first sector. Through Ferrajora he goes. Just tucks in quite nicely, that is, through 8 into Pinarino. And up towards the Bico de Pato. So far, Ryan keeping this nice and clean as we head down towards Junsao. And that final flag up towards the starter line. Absolutely been nothing else you can do now other than use all the pace you've carried through Junsao all the way up the hill. And it's going to be a 108.5 for Ryan, putting him 6th, and I can hear that Bruce is back in the comms box. So good evening, Bruce. How are you?
Yeah, good evening to you, Rich. Good evening, everyone. Apologies for the standard lateness, but yeah, really good. Looking forward to this one. And yeah, it looks like I've caught qualifying just at the right time, just as everyone's out on their second attempts. And Jack was one of those who's just completed his second attempt. As was that Omar now up to 2nd place? I think he just jumped straight up there, only 100th off of Nick Houston. So a great start there for Omar. But yeah, Jack didn't quite improve on his first run himself, so he'll be looking to improve maybe on a final run a little bit later.
Yeah, that was Omar's first attempt as well, which is good signs really for him. I mean, we were saying, yeah, good pace at Mexico, so it'd be interesting to see what sort of pace he's got here, and it's looking equally as good. So he's setting himself up quite nicely for the race.
Definitely. Merck's about to cross the line for his first attempt, and he's in the 108, so 108, hang on, no, it came up as a 108.1, but I believe that must have been an invalidated lap in that case, because he's still down as a 111 on the timing sheet. So yeah, a bit of work for Merck to do. He's definitely burnt all his ERS on that lap, so maybe running wide out of the final corner.
Volcano now puts in a provisional pole time of a 107.830, so the top 3 covered by just under 4/100ths of a second.
Yeah, it's incredibly close, and we've seen this. Obviously, we didn't see it yesterday in Tier 2 because they were doing the rerun of Mexico, but Tier 3 it was very tight throughout the pack. You know, there was only half a second covering pretty much. I'd say it was around about 10 or 11 cars. So yeah, it's definitely one of those circuits where small amounts do matter, and I think because it's one of those sort of fan favourite tracks, it's one of those ones that a lot of people would have done quite a lot of laps on the game.
So yeah, good evening to Mikey and Renz. Joining us for the finale of Tier 1 this season, Season 18. I'm kind of looking at Destiny. He's coming through just into Shunsao. He's just spun it. He's taken too much curb. And it won't be the first time we see that tonight. Someone taking just a touch too much of the inside curb for Shunsao. The outside curb you can use as much as you want, but that inside just slightly raised and slightly rounded. And F1 cars don't tend to like that.
No, definitely, it's a tricky little corner because you want to turn into it as soon as you can, but obviously you catch that curb, it can spin you round. But if you turn in that little bit later, you can easily miss the apex. So it's a tricky little corner, that final one. And Maggot was up to 4th, but he's now dropped down to 5th. I believe Brando has now jumped up to 4th. Yeah,
108.1 for the Alpine. Maggot was on a lap, I think, but I think he's invalidated it. There's ARL.
I'm not sure. I think Merckx might be trying to replenish his ERS here to have another go, but I think he's kind of got no chance. He's not even half full, although it does sound like the engine is starting to struggle perhaps with a bit of fuel supply. So yeah, he's coming in the pits now, and he's going to have to probably do it now in one final attempt.
It won't be the first time that Merckx has had to do it in one attempt. We know he's capable of pulling a time out of the bag when he needs to. So Jack's gone for a really early third run here. So I wonder if he's fueled up to go longer. We're looking at his steering wheel. He's pretty much got a flying lap and an in lap left in the tank. So I can only assume that he's doing this so that if he does invalidate it, he's got a chance of getting back in and then going for another run.
Yeah, and anywhere near starting a flying lap. We've currently got Louis and Destiny on out lap, but yeah, Jack just trying to beat the traffic here perhaps, and he's just under a tenth up on his best time so far. So yeah, he'll be looking to improve at least a couple of places, I should imagine, but I'm expecting these times to start getting a bit sort of tasty within the next few minutes.
Yeah, it's track evolution and people getting their eyes in always helps. It looks like Louis ceding position to Destiny, or either that he's had a bit of a spin on his outlap at Pico to Pato. Meanwhile, Jack, quarter of a second up on his current time, so puts him just 108.1.
Getting a very nice toe here as well from the Alpine.
Oh, and the Alpine just clipped the wall, I think, then. Jack puts himself 4th. Problem is, I don't know how much of a hindrance that Alpine... I mean, he gave him the slipstream, but you could see the Ferrari had to then go towards the outside of the circuit, which is not the preferred line when finishing your lap.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think he probably still would have gained a little bit from it, but yeah, as you say, not ideal. You had to take that line, but I'm not really sure whether Destiny is trying to recharge here or what on this lap at the moment. He's yeah, a little bit.
Does he still have?
A few times.
I assume he still has a full front wing because I'm pretty certain he clipped the ball on the inside when trying to stay out of the way of Jack.
Yeah, there's no visible damage to the wing. All the end plates are still attached, so yeah, nothing cosmetic from what we can see. And he's still got 100% ERS to tackle this last lap. Maybe he's going to try and get a toe now off of the Ferrari of Jack in front of him.
Here comes Destiny. I would have looked at Louis, but Louis on like another warm-up lap. And I'm going to say Destiny got picked up wing damage that we can't see.
So you've got to be under pressure here, Destiny, to get in, get that wing change. Obviously, it's pretty much immediate once you're in, but...
I mean, this isn't going to help Brando either, because they got to push that car back in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they're kind of lucky, really, this circuit. It's a short circuit. If this was somewhere like Spa, then you'd be having a bit of a panic right now about getting out and getting round. I think it would be impossible. But as Omar has retired from the session, I believe, in the pits. Yes.
So Omar thinking that he can't go any quicker than what he's already done. I mean, that's a pretty quick time from Omar. So Louis now starting his next lap.
I wonder whether it's tyre strategy possibly coming into it as well. You know, people fancy maybe saving that extra set of softs for the race. Be interesting to see what the forecast actually is and what the weather is expected for the race. But you know, we had rain expected on Monday, but it never materialised. Not enough safety cars, which was a surprise once for us. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that extra set of softs plays into their strategy.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. I mean, and there's always those grounds for a potential two-stop around here because the harder the compound, the slower you definitely go. And Nick Houston, 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Where is he on the circuit? That is against one of the Alfa Romeos, which is interesting because I don't think they're on a lap. Unless it was against Reshka. But Louis comes across the line, puts himself 7th at the moment. So a good final flying lap from Louis there in a 108.3.
So yeah, Nick, very unfortunate to get that 5-place grid penalty. As you said, I don't believe anyone was actually on a flying lap behind him. So the game just feeling maybe his pace was a little bit too slow on that outlap. But yeah, a bit of a disaster. But yeah, long way to go.
One thing I will note, Reshka kind of bailed out of that lap. He started another one, and he's not got full ERS. So I wonder if potentially that is where the 5-place penalties come into effect, because maybe the game's thinking he's not driving fast enough, and maybe Reshka was behind him at the time.
Yeah, quite possibly. Interestingly, we've got Jack on an outlap. He's at turn 4. He's in a very awkward position, but he's good to go now. He's on an outlap, but with only 20 seconds left to go. So yeah, a bit ambitious there for Jack to get out and get another lap in. But
you have to be careful because I don't know if the game takes control of the car if you're not on a flying lap and the time runs out. And as per the rules for IRL, you are responsible for your AI if it does go to AI. And you can see there he's got the checkered flag, which means he's no longer in control of that car.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. I mean, he has an Alpine coming up close behind him, but yeah, should be interesting. I think Volcano is done. He's done for quali. Nick Houston's only a couple of hundredths up on his best time. He may improve up to second. Merck did go second there. He may improve up to second, but obviously he's going to get he could be improved to first. But unfortunately, that 5-place grid penalty is going to drop him back down the order. Yeah,
good time that from Nick Houston. Brando Carolengo comes across the line. Does go a little quicker, but doesn't improve position. Destiny puts himself into 10th. And that is the end of qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Nick Houston does take, in essence, pole position, but he will not be starting from there. Well, I say that as Volcano's obviously backed out of his lap. So yeah, Nick Houston technically takes pole position, but will not be starting there, courtesy of a 5-place grid penalty from the game.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly how that was picked up, whether or not he feels it was unjust or whether or not he just got caught napping. It's easy to do, you know, it's quite a busy track as well, you know, with it being such a short lap. But yeah, big shame. I think Jack's AI luckily continued at a decent enough pace not to affect the Alpine, which I believe was Destiny actually was behind him. So yeah, lucky there for Jack. He didn't cause any issues, but yeah, great job for Nick and both McLarens on the front row. But obviously, as we say, that 5-place grid penalties not helped that situation at all for Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we say, obviously, saying earlier, both the titles are done, but it's obviously the lower positions now that need to be sorted. So still quite important race for some of these guys. But Bruce, do you want to take us through the qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Absolutely. So I'm going to ignore Nick for a second, but it's going to be Volcano on pole position with Merck on sharing the front row with him in the Mercedes, Omar third and Jack fourth, Brando fifth with Nick Houston sixth, then it would be Magnet seventh, ARL eighth, Astube ninth, Destiny 10th, Louis 11th, Rashka 12th, Ginger Tiger 13th, and Ryan rounding out the grid in 14th. But as I said before, it's incredibly tight. There's only 7 temps covering the entire grid. You really feel like around this circuit, it could be anyone's race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see what sort of strategies people decide to go on, because that could decide the race. Is what tyres you're on at what point in time, and then obviously potential for the safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, as I said, we saw safety car on Monday night in Tier 3. You know a little bit too much about that one, unfortunately. But yeah, it does come into play, and you know, it's one of those races where it has left the session. Unfortunately, that's not ideal for him, so hopefully he can get back in pretty quick. But yeah, it will be interesting. You know, I think you might see someone try a two-stopper tonight. Obviously, the game always suggests the one-stopper, but I think just the sheer grip advantage of having the fresher tyres, especially through that middle sector, may make a two-stop more viable than normal.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Going a little bit more aggressive sometimes can pay off. Especially when with that two-stop you could end up on the soft compound tyre, which when others are on potentially hard tyres, you're 2 steps softer and you're going to be taking a lot of time. But that is if you run the soft tyre at the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of guys try the soft tyre at the start. We've seen it a few times this season where someone's tried it just to, you know, chance their arm a little bit. And sometimes it's worked, sometimes it's not. And we also, I think, Merck, hasn't he, in the last couple of races, has tried two stops as well, I believe, to try and spice it up a little bit. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, personally, I would favour a two-stop at this point of the season. It's obviously the championship's done, as you said, and it's an opportunity to kind of go out and have a bit of fun with no pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And meanwhile in the chat, apparently Ren's is listening to some country music while watching Tier 1. AR saying the car isn't happy and this is his worst track. So he needs to pull something out of the bag. I mean, he had a pretty good qualifying for a poor track for him. And then Ren's was saying that through the years this track has become harder to not understeer, which I would say yes to, but I think it's more the fact because obviously the more you know it, the more you push. But we're going to have the 5 red lights. And we are racing at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the finale of Tier 1. Who's got the best getaway? It looks like Volcano's going to take the lead into the Senna S for the first time. Merck just about got his nose alongside, but he then backs out of it going through into Curva do Sol. We got a spinner of Omar in the Aston Martin. Doesn't look like he's hit the wall, so we should be all good once he gets back going again. Oh, as I say that, there's a huge accident in the background involving Ginger Tiger and Destiny, and we're going to have a virtual safety car on lap number 1. Looks like there's a Ferrari of Louis, and I think Destiny's just retired on circuit, which is not really allowed. I'm surprised he's done that on the basis he could probably come back into the pits. Louis caught up in that as well. I don't know exactly what happened because it was all in the background whilst we were looking at the front, but I don't know whether Bruce might have had a bit of an eye on that one.
Yeah, no, I was on board with one of the cars towards the back. It looked like Destiny and one of the Ferraris, I didn't quite catch which Ferrari, kind of hooked up, and one of the cars, I couldn't quite remember which one it was, one of the cars was trying to like leave the ground, trying to take off, and unfortunately it then, as the car kind of landed, which I think was Destiny's car, it kind of spat him off to the right, and he kind of took Ginger Tiger with him. So Ginger Tiger very much seemed to be an innocent sort of victim in all that, just trying to avoid it all, and unfortunately he was collected as Destiny's car speared across the track.
We are back to green flag racing, and Nick Houston making a move on Maggot down the main straight. We'll have a look now at some tyres. We do have Louis. That's a bit of a shame for Louis because he was on the hard tyres. So that's a big strategical disadvantage for the Ferrari as Maggot was looking to get back at Nick Houston. Meanwhile, Reshka side by side with Ashtube, and he's going to make that move stick for 6th. And Jack also trying to get in amongst the places. Looking to the outside of Farajor. This is a brave move. He wants to stick this one out, Larinia. Good racing from the pair. Good room given. And we're still going at it into Pinarino and up towards Bico to Pato. Don't normally see battles lasting this long, especially through Farajora. But Jack does finally concede that one before Magulio. And he'll have to try again down the main straight. But one person starting on the soft compound tyre, that is Brando Camarlengo. 3 people on the hards, which is Merck, Ryan and Omar. The rest now on the mediums. Obviously, Louis did start on the hards, but had that early pit stop.
Yeah, Brando will want to make this count while he can, and obviously he's clearly showing the pace here, setting the current fastest lap. DRS now enabled as well. So a good chance here potentially for Brando to get past Merck. Merck's a little bit further off the back of Volcano. But he appears to have very good straight line speed. I know he has DRS as well, but yeah, Brando not catching up with Merck there at all down that straight.
Jack couldn't get past Ashtube as well, but obviously we are in that sort of DRS train headed up by Reshka at the moment. Further down the field, we'll go back up to Brando. As you say, he's right on the back of Merck. We are on lap 3 of 36. And Renzo, this is not RP, this is Tier 1. RP's tomorrow. So
I could see the confusion news because Merck is at the front of this as well, so easy mistake to make there, to be honest. But,
and Brando's
Brando
picked up.
That's incredible. Only 3 laps in as well. That's a bit of a disaster really for Brando. That's going to make his life very, very difficult at this early stage of the race.
It's quite impressive, averaging a warning a lap. Should have about 12 penalties come the end of this race. Also, but Jack side by side with Ashtube once again through the centre S into the curve of Dassault. Now it comes who's got the lowest wing set, and who does Reshka decide to give some slipstream to? None of them in the end, because Ashtube just keeps that position, stays ahead of the Ferrari.
Yeah, good defensive work there from Reshka as well, making it difficult for them to stick behind him to get the run on him. Obviously, with him being 2 seconds behind Maggot in front, he's kind of going to be a bit of a sitting duck on the pit straight without the aid of ERS to try and get him out of it. But yeah, it's turning into a good little race here at the back and a good little race at the front at the moment.
You have to say, at present, Merck is in the best possible position because he's on the hard tyres, sticking with Volcano. So the latter part of this race, he's going to be on the preferred tyre around here. That is, if everyone does a one-stop race.
Yeah, Merck round the outside of Volcano into turn 1, and that's easy job done there for the Mercedes driver. But now he's going to have to try and stop Volcano getting back past him. Volcano should have a better drive out of turn 2, but Merck going very defensive early, heading down to turn 4. I don't think Volcano's close enough, but is he? He's going for it.
You can make some interesting lunges into Desida del Lago, but on this occasion, Volcano and Brando are very close on the exit of Desida del Lago as well into Ferrajora, and here comes Brando trying to take the opportunistic move, still down the inside of the hairpin right. These two got to be careful, they don't want to fight too much, they'll lose the back of Merckx, and we know what happens when that happens. But that is some great driving from the pair, and a great move from Brando Camarlengo. Great opportunistic driving.
Yeah, it's great stuff. We got Ryan and ARL side by side. Ryan getting the move done on the Alfa Romeo driver. It's very close at the front of this pack as well now between Jack and Reshka. I feel like Jack's going to get straight past the Williams driver here without too much effort. But yeah, this is going to be tough now for Reshka. As I say, he's so far behind the car in front. He's kind of going to almost let Jack go past and then try and stick with Jack and stick in his DRS for quite some time now.
The tactic commonly used in it is if you just sit behind someone, you can save your ERS quite comfortably, ready for a later attack. But Reshka deciding he doesn't want to wait. He's going to go straight away into the Cedar de Lago. And the Williams driver goes back into the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Reska feeling quite racy tonight. In the long run, this is going to cost this whole group time to the cars in front. I think that's already a few attempts dropped now to Maggot in front. A little bit wide there from Reska, a little bit of a slide on the previous right-hander, which put him offline for the left, but he gathered it all back up. And I think we could see a pretty much a carbon copy of the last lap with Jack on the pit straight.
Question is, how close can Ashtube get? Because Ashtube could well follow Jack through here. Meanwhile, at the front, yeah, Brando looking to do a carbon copy of what Merck done to Volcano into the lead. But I did notice the red light was flashing for the Alpine, which would suggest to me he's going to be in trouble down to Cedar Lago. But Jack has finally got past Reshka, as has Ashtube, and it looks like Ryan, as Merck as suspected, gets back past Brando. Ryan is now looking to try and get past the Williams himself. Can't quite do it. ARL's just hanging around at the moment with a bit of popcorn. Just waiting to see if something other than some racing happens.
Yeah, ARL's in that sort of position. He doesn't need to really push on too hard as Ryan goes for a little look down the inside of Reska, but very ambitious to try and pull that one off. And the backside, it's the yellow flag in sector 1, which is Louis, who's gone round at turn 2. Yeah, not going too well this now for Louis. After that early pit stop off those hards onto the mediums, and it's sort of strategically he needs a safety car now, otherwise his race is basically done. But he has a point. He is in the points. So.
Yeah, I mean, he could always come in later this race and try for fastest lap on a soft compound tyre. Make himself 2 points. Always a silver lining when only 12 cars are running.
Absolutely. Nick Houston has now caught the back of this leading trio. We've now got a leading quartet, and he'll be delighted to be back up after that 5-place grid penalty. To now be fighting with the group at the front. On the medium tyres, the same as Volcano, his teammate in front. And Volcano's round. Too much curb at the inside.
Yeah, Farajora. He's going to have to be careful. That's a hell of a ramp over the grass, that is. From Volcano.
A bit of off-road hill climbing from Volcano there, coming up the hill. That was pretty significant.
Welcome to the F1 trials.
Yeah. But that's a big shame for Volcano. He was showing some excellent pace. And just a little bit too much of that curb. And it can send you around. A couple of people on Monday did the same thing, so it's easily done. You don't have to be too far offline for that to happen.
Shame for Volcano. He was running very, very well, and also he had good. One mistake will cost you in this sport, and he's quite lucky that he kind of had that spin, didn't really go anywhere, because it's very easy around Farajora to suddenly have the car spear off into the outside barriers, and that really is game over normally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can get that snapback. It was one of those. Obviously, I'm sure it didn't feel like it to Volcano, but on board with Nick Houston, it would just look like one of those lazy spins that you just can't do anything about it. You try all your might to try and get it back straight, but it's just impossible once the car starts to go like that. You just cannot get it back. So yeah, big shame for him. I just want Brando through there as well, and he's not really taken too much of a dissimilar line. A yellow flag in sector 2. That's
Maggot. Maggot's had a moment through Pinarino. Has allowed Jack up into 4th into Bico Tapato, so Jack slowly making his way forward here. And I wonder, position change, he started 4th, he's now back into 4th. Meanwhile, Brando Camalengo into the pits on lap 10.
Maybe Brando may go a medium here, but I think
it is mediums.
What I'd go for. I think that this is what I was planning on Monday until my front wing got smashed off on the first lap. But this is a strategy I quite like around here. He's going to have fresher tyres now in the group in front. He's going to undercut them, and obviously whilst then he'll drop behind once he makes another pit stop. his tyres will be so much fresher than the guys in front of him that he'll stand every chance of getting back past them. So I quite like this from Brando, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out now, and hopefully he can prove us right that a two-stop is potentially the way to go.
And what's quite critical about this as well at the moment is that neither Merckx nor Nick Houston have DRS, which sounds kind of weird to say, but if Nick Houston was in Merckx DRS and they continuously swap positions, they would gain a lot of time by leapfrogging each other in each of the DRS zones. So this is good news for Brando because it means it's a completely level playing field. It's purely the tyre difference that currently will create a better time difference for him.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree. I'm just going to keep an eye on Merck's lap times a minute, I think, and compare it with Brando's lap time once we get to the end of their current laps, just to see exactly what the sort of pace difference is. I mean, Brando, I was about to say he's gone past Omar, but Omar is in the pits as well, off of those hard tyres, so it'd be interesting to see what he is now going to switch to. On to mediums, I think 26 laps on mediums might be a bit much.
As Omar's thinking he'll go mediums and then maybe softs at the end. I mean, I quite like that, the ruling of use every single compound, and he could well be doing that.
Yeah, obviously I think he was sort of forced into it a little bit where he got involved in a bit of stuff at the start. Is this his first pit stop?
Yes, it is.
Yellow flag
and that's Louis has gone round.
Again. Yeah, big struggle for Louis at the moment on these tyres. I do wonder whether he's maybe burnt them out a little bit with just a couple of spins now. He's making it a little bit more tricky, potentially. Or whether he has some other damage, maybe some underfloor damage. Not used to seeing Louis make this many mistakes. A 1:12.0 for Merck on that last lap.
Meanwhile, Ashtube and Ryan going side by side into the centre S. And Ashtube looks like he's just going to keep hold of that one for the Alfa Romeo for the time being.
So on that last lap, Brando lapped a second and a half quicker than the leading driver of Merck. So he's already making massive inroads. Bit of a slide there for Ryan, but making big inroads already to that deficit to the top two.
Yeah, I've got the gap to the leader up at the moment just to see how that is fluctuating, and Brando now at 18.3 behind the lead of Merckx.
Brando making a move on Volcano as well. Obviously, Volcano still recovering after that spin at Ferragura, so yeah, obviously that shows how the difference now that and the issue that Volcano has with his strategy. He's going to have to make his pit stop still, and Brando's already ahead and can go quite a lot longer on these tyres.
Meanwhile, for the battle for fourth, Ashtube tried to go around the outside of Maggot through Junsao. Got pushed a little bit wide, but Ryan managed to get through and past both of them. Reshka's made the move into the centre S on Maggot. Maggot now really struggling. I don't know whether he may have some wing damage. Potentially, maybe he nicks the barrier. It was a bit close between Ashtube and Ryan, but Ashtube goes down the inside of Decido Delago, and he's going to claim that place back. Fourth place for the Alfa Romeo as they head up towards Ferragura. I think Ryan was almost looking to go down the inside then, but just decided better of it.
Yeah, there may have been a little bit of contact actually between the Alfa Romeo and the Alfa Tauri. It looked like Ryan was just going back right to take the race in 9 as Ashtube decided that's where he was going to go as well. It's just a bit not clumsy, but a bit unfortunate, I think. But at turn 1, ARL nearly lost the back end as well. It concertinaed up a little bit between the four guys in front, and he had to hit the brakes quite hard, I think, to avoid running into the back of Maga, and it just had a big moment. But luckily he's still on the back of the pack.
And it looks like Aero's going to make a move on Maga, and that was not how you take the pit entry at Interlagos.
That's a variation of it, I believe. Anyway.
No front wing change for Maga, which I'm surprised at, because it looked like he was struggling through the corner, so maybe he just burnt the tyres out, but the track designers probably with a bit of a frown on Maga there for not using the facilities they've provided.
Yeah, I think that may have been a pit entry from F1 1997, that one perhaps. But yeah, I mean, the advantage now for Maggot, obviously, he's not got that DRS, but he's going to have fresher tyres, a bit of clean air, and these guys fighting, even though they've got DRS, do feel like they're fighting enough that it will hold them up enough for Maggot to potentially undercut them here.
And I think the sort of cut-off point between when the mediums are faster compared to the hards has come, because you can see Merckx is starting to lap faster than Nick Houston. That gap was around 2.2, 2.3, is now up to 2.93 seconds. So that trade-off has now levelled out as Ryan goes for a move on Ashtube, ARL down the inside of Reshka. Both making the moves, and here comes Brando Camalengo. He's got to get past these quickly, even though they're battling. And Reshka is looking to re-overtake as Ashtube gets back past Ryan. Reshka puts one down the inside. There's a bit of contact through Decido Delago. And Reshka is out to the race, and we have a safety car.
Yeah, that was a bit clumsy all round. Obviously, yeah, Reshka kind of ran the Alfa Romeo wide and then had a bit of a slide himself right in front of Brando. Brando kind of had nowhere to go, hit the back of Reshka, which put him into the wall. Not Brando's fault at all, and unfortunately Brando has now lost an end plate as well, so kind of almost back to square one for him. It'd be interesting to see what he does from here now, whether or not he fancies that maybe a switch to hard now to get himself to the end of the race is actually the way to go, but that's kind of potentially ruined his soft medium potential plan. Now he has that front wing damage.
Yeah, he's going to have to pit to change that. Everyone coming into the pits. Ashtube 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. I'll tell you one person who will be happy with this though. Is one Louis 675R.
Yeah, he's just managed to, recently got a Delta, I think he just managed to get past the safety car without too many dramas. We have seen some interesting defensive blocking this season from the safety car. Yeah, he's obviously going to, as you say, come round to catch up the back of the pack. And yeah, he'll be delighted to see that safety car, no doubt.
The question is, will Merckx mediums go the 18 laps? Because I reckon we'll have a couple of laps under safety car, because it's going to wait until Louis catches up, and until he passes the line, he's going to be under that delta, which he's obviously quicker than the safety car, but it's not massively quicker until he gets past that start-finish line where he can actually be flat out down the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just about to come across the line now. So, yeah, as you say, it's going to be the end of this lap. And, yeah, at least one more. I think Louis may catch the pack at the end of the next lap. It's whether or not he catches them quick enough. He is lapping around now at a fair pace, to be fair. So we could well see it. Omar's gone to the soft tyres, which is an interesting strategy.
He did only do one run in qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Omar maybe could go a soft now to the end of the race? It's very ambitious. I'm not sure exactly how that would play out. But
I mean, 10 laps on the softs. I mean, it's going to be probably 9 laps apiece on the softs.
Yeah, it's doable. I think it's definitely doable, and it would turn his race into a 3-stop strategy. Ashtube doing a sensible thing, coming in, getting rid of that 5-second penalty. The only thing is what tyres will he come out on? It'll be the medium tyres. So, yeah, I think the medium tyres can make it. 100% they can make it to the end of the race. I think, as you said, though, Merckx, once we got to around that sort of 13, 14, those hard tyres were better than those medium tyres. So, it'll be a case of how much can he pull out in the, with about sort of 5 laps to go when we start to see the hards maybe coming back.
So you have just joined us here for the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with Venturi Studio, the finale round at Brazil. We've just gone in a safety car after an incident where Reshka ended up in the wall at Decido Delago. Very unfortunate for himself. But It's the risks you have when you fight hard. I mean, it is the last race of the season. Everyone looking to have that sort of hard fight. Some good, clean, hard racing. And it's always good to watch. And it's, I guess, to some degree, always a nice thing to sort of practice, even going into a new game, is having that sort of those hard battles with others around you, where you may be racing them again next season as the safety car is going to be coming in. Very late call.
That's a very, very late call, and Merck now obviously slower up. There's a little bit of carnage behind with everyone trying to avoid everyone, which is not a surprise with a call that late. It doesn't give Merck many options as to when to go.
Question is when is he going to go? I think he's still crawling. Everyone Ryan a little bit cheeky there, almost drawing alongside Jack, and now we go, and that is a very good restart from Merck. He has caught Nick Houston napping, an absolute beauty there.
3 wide in the middle of the pack, a little bit of contact, but somehow they've all come out of that unscathed, which was quite remarkable. That was Brando, Omar and Volcano, and I genuinely thought there was going to be an incident there, but they managed to keep it going in a straight line.
Omar looking to go around the outside of Brando Camalengo. He's on those soft tyres. Can't quite do it. If Omar wants to make this strategy work, he's got to get through the cars.
Yeah, 100%, and he's got some quick boys in front. Oh, that's a hell of a dive from Omar. The grip of those soft tyres means he can get away with it, but Brando is not going away. He's still there, but I think this is going to be a done deal now for Omar. And that was a very, very good move, very committed, but did kind of need the cooperation of Brando somewhat, I think. Yeah,
it's good racing between the pair. Omar now looking at the back of Maggot, who was struggling earlier on those old softs. I don't quite know why. Because he didn't change his front wing in the pits, but Merck now has a 1.4 second gap to Nick Houston. Exactly what he needs to do as Omar goes down the inside of the Red Bull. Good again. It's this fantastic racing from Tier 1. Space being given, and here comes Brando Camalengo. Once again, opportunistic as ever this race. Door was open, fill it with an Alpine.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, that Omar made that gap nicely for him. Omar now looking to go around the outside of ARL at Ferragura. This would be one hell of a move. I think he's going to do it though.
Omar El Muta, he's had some Weetabix in the safety car. That car has sprung to life on the soft compound. And that's a scary move even on a game. And here comes Brando once again, following the Aston Martin. Can he finish it off around Magulio? The answer to that is no. He's going to have to wait until after Junsao.
Yeah, good switch back there though from the Alpine driver. ARL giving him just enough room on the approach to Junsao. But yeah, Merck's running the lap. But here comes ARL. Here comes
Maggot
as well.
Oh, that was close. I'm pretty certain there's a touch of contact as they went 3 wide up towards the Senate, and Maggot claims 2 positions. What can Brando do? DRS is enabled. Both of them running out of ERS. Into Decido Del Lago, and the Alpine once again gets past the Red Bull.
So yeah, Merck currently 2.7 seconds up the road from Nick Houston. Nick Houston with his mirrors full of Jack and Ryan at the moment. This is playing out nicely for Merck. You'd have to think if he can get himself a 4 or 5 second gap, that'll be enough for him to hold on with those medium tyres at the end of the race. So yeah, that's probably his target now, just to get that extra second or so gap now on what he currently has, and just manage the race from there. But Omar is coming through the pack at a fair rate of knots. He's now in the DRS of Ryan, but obviously he's going to have to make that extra pit stop, and it's then a question of how much time can he make up again then when he's on those fresher softs.
And if you think about it, the time he makes up now as Jack down the inside of Nick Houston into the Senna S. Nick Houston fighting back. This is all going to help Merck, and here comes Ryan round the outside of Curva de Sol. Nick Houston deciding to defend from Jack instead, and hit Ryan up into second. Jack having to go around the long way. Oh, he's off the circuit now. Comes back on, and Omar looking to go around the outside. Oh, don't go 3 wide here, boys. That is not what you want to do. Omar, though, starting to like the looks of that outside move at Ferragura, and he's going to get the move done. If you're these guys here, surely you don't really want to fight Omar too much. You do, but you don't, because obviously all he's going to do is cost you time, especially if you're at the back of that pack.
Yeah, definitely. I think they need to be aware that Omar is not in the same race as them at the moment with his current strategy. So yeah, trying not to fight. It's easier said than done though. You know, when you're on track, you don't want to lose that place. As Merck now hits that 4-second gap to Ryan, but yeah, you kind of, it's hard to stop yourself from fighting, isn't it? You know, you always want to be ahead of the other guys, and yeah, it's just getting that mentality to stop yourself from getting involved. But yeah, here comes Nick now on Ryan, but I think he's going to be close enough.
He can't quite do it. I was saying earlier with Omar, as it looks like ARL now gets past Maggot into the seat of Delago. But also about Omar is that the time he gains now, when he comes in for another set of softs, the time gain will be even greater because of how much bigger the tyre difference will be. So if you can get out of this sort of, you can get ahead and get out of this group, get up towards maybe Merck's territory, there's every chance he could come back through the field up towards these podium places, but he's running out of time to get past these cars so they make enough of an impact to allow that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, 100%. I mean, he's obviously struggling now to get past these two guys in front. These soft tyres, I think they've probably still got a bit more life in them yet. And with the way the DRS is planning out now, Nick Houston getting the DRS. So Omar goes for the move down the inside. He's kind of got to force this, but a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action there. But he's got to get it done soon, because otherwise, you know, the longer this takes, the more cars he's going to have to battle back through at the end of the race. And I think, you know, any more than 5 or 6 cars to battle through, he's going to have a bit of trouble.
Oh, Nick Houston gets a little bit loose. The question is, can Omar take advantage? He looks to the inside of Ferragura. We're on board with him, and that door was always going to close. There's a bit of a risky line that from Omar, going over that raised curb.
Yeah, definitely is. As we saw with Volcano earlier, a little bit of a slide there for Omar as well. So I think these tyres are starting to struggle a little bit more now. I mean, we'd expect potentially to see him in within the next sort of 3-4 laps, perhaps, to put on another set of softs to go to the end. But yeah, this is just hampering him now. I don't think this strategy is working out for the Aston Martin driver.
He had to get through quickly, and obviously the problem is he's come up against he's come up to this DRS train, and it's just not been that easy as Maggot re-overtakes ARL into the centre S. I think this battle is going to be one that continues on for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's good to see Louis as well. Obviously still in 11th, but he's on this group after the disastrous start to the race. He stuck at it. He kept going. Bit of wheel-to-wheel action there from Volcano and Ashtube. But yeah, he stuck at it, and fair play to him. He's still on this pack, having a good little fight with these 4 cars in front.
And because of Reshka's unfortunate incident, he's now got 2 points in the bank. As long as he finishes this race. But Ashtube just about defending within the realms of the rule book. Giving 1 car width and not an inch more. Back for this fight for second.
Yeah, Merch still currently with the fastest lap at the moment, but I mean, yeah, he's got a 5.8 second advantage as well.
Omar down, looking to go down the inside once again. There's a bit more contact. Omar just can't quite get this move done, although he's got a better run through Curva de Sol. And he's picked up 3 seconds worth of time penalties now. So this has gone from bad to worse really for Omar, as Nick Houston has managed to make a move. Big slide for Ryan. Contact with Omar and a huge head-on collision.
That's another safety car. Well, I'm amazed that Ryan's been penalised for that. So that was a hybrid of Brando and Ryan there. Shouldn't have.
What a ship.
But yeah, that was a huge incident. A little bit of contact there, which sent Ryan round, and Brando's just had no. Well, he's just come flying around the corner to be confronted by an AlphaTauri in the middle of the road, and I can't believe Ryan's been done for 5 seconds in game for that. But yeah, that's Brando out, and another safety car, and this now brings everyone back into it. Mercs around the pits.
Yeah, I expect everyone in the pits for some soft tyres. I mean, this is perfect for Omar, because he was going to have to pit again, so this limits how many positions he's going to this cycle of pit stops.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's fair to assume everyone's going to be on the soft tyre. I think it would be unusual for someone to not be on the soft tyre. It's definitely looking that way.
All depends what you got left in your arsenal of tyres. So Ryan had to serve that 5-second penalty, and it will be soft tyres for him as well. And unsurprisingly, a new front wing. I mean, I reckon Brando must have thought he was in like a horror movie, just come around the corner and all of a sudden there's a Ryan there.
It was, yeah, and I mean, from my POV, I was following, looking backwards from one of the cars, and I think it was such a heavy hit. Brando's car actually got air, from what I could see, which is unusual in this game. But yeah, a massive incident. A little bit confused by Omar's 3-second penalty as well, because he didn't really go off track as such. He kind of went across some hatchings, but it wasn't really a corner car. I think it was a little bit harsh, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether or not he contests that at a later stage. But yeah, this is sort of neutralised it now. He's got everyone back in the hunt, and basically it's going to be probably, I would say, a 9-lap sprint, but it was a late safety car call in last time. I wouldn't be surprised to see another one again now. Maybe too late this time.
Yeah, I think just slightly too late. But it's, I mean, in reality, it's a good job really that this is kind of virtual racing, because in real life for Brando that would have been a horrific accident.
It was a big hit, yeah, and unsurprising to see him lose many components of his car. It's been a night of quite sizable incidents. Obviously, we had the one on lap 1 that Destiny and Ginger Tiger were involved in. Obviously, then Reshka, when Brando kind of had nowhere to go, and then obviously Brando again with nowhere to go, and it's just not worked out, unfortunately, for the Alpine driver. He's had fantastic pace all night, has Brando, but yeah, unfortunately his race ended 10 laps early.
Yeah, and a bit of an update on that Reshka incident. Reshka, I can see saying that he missed his braking point into Desida de Largo, only made the corner because of the tap with ARL, but also because of the tap with ARL, made his car obviously lose control. So, bit of information there. Omar, the only one with a time penalty to his name, 3 seconds for track infringements. The safety car should be going in this lap. It should get called in about now.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, technically the safety car should always be called in at this at the second split line normally, or a reasonable distance. So the game doesn't always follow that procedure, but at least Merc's
Very
got
much open to interpretation.
Yes, Merc though does have a lot more options now on when he wants to go. He's still crawling.
Looking similar to before, though. He's going to wait a very long time, see if Nick can actually stick with him this time.
It's not a bad idea, because obviously you shorten the run down to turn 1. You shorten that potential for drafting and towing, and he's going to wait right until the line here, isn't he? Now he goes, and once again he's tying that to perfection. I think he was looking behind him at Nick Houston. And 6/10 the gap. Volcano has got past ARL. Louis been given a 3-second time penalty now for track limits. as he's got Ryan going around the outside of Curva de Sol on him. Jobs are good for the AlphaTauri driver. That was very clever though from Merckx on the restart. I was looking behind, and you can see Nick just get really close enough for him to have to lift off or tap the brakes to make sure he didn't run into the back of him, and that's when Merckx went. So Merckx obviously looking in his mirrors, waiting for that perfect moment, and once again Nick Houston got caught napping.
Yeah, definitely, and it was awkward for Nick as well, because obviously he was so close behind Merckx, but also Jack was so close by Nick. It didn't give him much sort of room for manoeuvre. He couldn't suddenly dab the brakes or anything like that because Jack was so close behind him. So, yeah, but very smart stuff from Merckx. It worked the last time, it worked this time, and yeah, very close to getting Nick Houston out of that DRS now.
And Jack is already running out of ERS. And it's not because we got the graphic up, it's literally because of that lovely little red flashing light on the back of his Ferrari. So he's pushing hard to try and keep this third position, but I think Omar's going to have him even before the DRS is activated.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward overtake there, isn't it, for Omar, and he'll obviously want to try and progress at least 3 seconds up the road now from Jack just to try and get that gap for his time penalty, try and get that podium place, but you'd have to think really Omar's not going to win this race now, but yeah, I think trying to get that 3 second gap to get the podium will be his target.
And it's not it's definitely within the realms of possibility, because if you can break the DRS to Jack and potentially maybe start to get onto the back of Nick and get his DRS, every chance those 3 seconds is doable.
Yeah, Ryan looking to go past Ashtube there. Slightly misjudging it and tapping the back of the Alfa Romeo, but no damage done to either of the drivers. Maggot now past Jack as well. But it's running a little bit deep, so I think Jack's going to get a better run now out of turn 2 onto this DRS straight. But he has Volcano in close attention behind as well.
Down the Retta Aposta. Maggot having to defend. Once again, though, Maggot, another one who uses ERS very quickly on the restart. You get the feeling because of that, it gives Omar that much more of a chance to get away, because obviously when you're running out of ERS and you're trying to harvest it, naturally you're not going to go quite as fast, and Jack's Ferrari just doesn't quite look as settled or as comfortable on these soft tyres. It's definitely not as quick as it was on the mediums and the hards.
No, definitely, 100%. Yeah, there seems to be a few people struggling actually weirdly up on these soft tyres. Maggot now, obviously, he's had to do a little bit of defending, but he's now 2 seconds behind Omar. Omar actually catching the back end of Nick Houston, which is a little bit of a surprise. There's Volcano now down the inside of Jack, but Jack still alongside through 2, but gives up the place there to Volcano, and yeah, lives to fight another day. Yeah, Maggot is struggling a little bit on these softer tyres as well.
Here I'm looking just for a bit of cool air, maybe trying to cool the engine down, but as you say, Omar slowly catching up to the back of Nick Houston, and pretty soon Nick Houston was now flashing for his ERS as well. So obviously I think Nick's been trying to catch onto the back of Merckx to put Merckx under some pressure, but he's obviously used a lot of ERS to try and do that. Meanwhile, Omar's been catching him and is almost in that DRS zone.
Yeah, Nick has actually brought the gap down slightly, I think, to Merckx. Yeah, the ERS situation does make it quite interesting viewing if we were going to show you, but we're not going to. Yeah, Nick's still not out of this yet, though, to be honest. I think he's got half a chance still. He can just get those 4 tenths back. But obviously he's going to have the close attentions of Omar very, very soon. And Jack is just going backwards at the moment.
It was very close between Jack and ARL, as Louis looking to go around the outside of Ryan. That didn't quite work. Louis runs a little bit wide and he's lost so much time. I don't think he's going to have any DRS, so he could be in a bit of trouble in terms of that. Volcano is past Maggot. We're on board with Jack and Ashtube. It looked like a little bit of contact. Ashtube off the road, and Ryan picks up a spot and he's on the back of Jack. He closes in on Jack massively through Ferrajora.
Yeah, or move down the inside. Jack has to move out of it to give him space, but obviously then has the inside line through this left-hander. A bit of a squeeze from Jack on Ryan, but I think that's going to be job done now for the AlphaTauri.
Ferrari struggling on this soft compound. The other thing though, Jack's not quite done. Oh, I don't know if that was a tap from behind. But Jack got all out of shape coming through Jinsao. And he's looking vulnerable to those behind. Here comes Ashtube to the outside, and Jack throws one down the inside of Ryan. A little bit of wheel banging, and here comes Ashtube through. Oh, covered a soul. Louis almost lost the rear end. Whilst this is all happening, a little bit of contact down the straight between Ashtube and Jack. Into Decida. More contact as Jack puts Ashtube off the road, and I hate to say this, but I think Ashtube probably deserved a little bit more room than that from Jack, but we continue racing and no one's in the wall just yet.
Yeah, I don't think Ashtube's the first driver to have been shown that line on the exit of turn 4 tonight, so yeah, there's some pretty aggressive racing, but it's not been ridiculous, although I think bumping wheels down the straight maybe a little bit OTT, but there we go, it is what it is, and they've all survived to carry on. But yeah, this fight has given Ryan a small amount of breathing space, but it's not because he's just spun.
I'm going to take a punt that he took too much curve at Jinsao, but meanwhile,
Indeed,
Omar, well within DRS of Nick Houston. And he's just about, as Ryan, I think, is going to come in and retire, which is a bit of a shame because he was scoring points there, regardless.
Yeah, I was expecting him to come in, put on another set of softs and go for fastest lap, but side by side again here, Jack and Ashtube.
And a bit of contact through the corner, but it's all good because they both stay on the circuit. Ashtube through into 7th place finally, but he's now 3 seconds behind his teammate of ARL, which is not really ideal for him. Meanwhile, Omar, he's flirting with keeping this podium at the moment. 3.1, 3.2 seconds to Volcano.
Yeah, Volcano's showing some good pace here at the moment now, and is slowly nibbling away. It's a very slow nibble at that gap to Omar, but it is coming down, so Omar's going to need the help of the DRS here from Nick Houston massively to get him over that 3 seconds gap, I think as soon as these two start fighting for this 2nd place on track, then it's going to give Volcano the upper hand as Jack gets back past Ashtube.
Yep, this Ashtube versus Ferrari battle continuing on. And I get the funny feeling that Ashtube's going to try and repay the favour down the Retta Aposta. He moves to the left. A little bit more gentlemanly between the two drivers on this occasion. And Ashtube back into 7th.
Yeah, it's a good battle between these guys here. Louis just sort of watching from behind. He has a time penalty anyway for track limits, so he's kind of just watching, hoping these guys, maybe not his teammates so much, but hoping that these guys get involved somehow and give him that 7th place with this lap and a half to go. But yeah, Omar behind Nick, it's just whether or not he has enough to get past him or not.
I mean, the ERS situation is slightly interesting between these drivers. I know who it favours at the moment. So you move on to the last lap, and Omar, look down the inside. I think it's wise of him not to go for that move, though, because he's not going to keep 2nd place from Nick Houston. He might as well keep that DRS and have that time and speed advantage down these straights.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, to be honest. Nick's going at a good enough pace here that it will keep the Volcano at bay from that 3 seconds behind Omar. So unless Nick has a wobble in front of Omar on this final lap, I think he should get this podium place.
Well, the battle of Ashtube and the Ferraris. Ashtube has managed to keep that 7th place into the 2nd sector. It's the first time that group's had that for the last 3-4 laps. But we're going to head towards Jinsao with Merckx because once again, I mean, you could say it was strategy, you could say it was a little bit of luck with the safety car. But either way, Merckx has driven a superb race, and he's going to end his season in style, winning the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Omar just finished second on the track, but it's going to be Nick who finishes second in the results. Omar will keep that podium by nearly a second, so it was good driving from him in the end. Volcano takes fourth, Maggot fifth, ARL is sixth, Ashtube seventh, I believe, Jack eighth, Louis ninth, I'm going to suggest.
Yeah, there's only 100 between Ashtube and Jack over the line in the end, so they continued that battle pretty much right up to the line. Yeah, brilliant stuff from the two.
Was really good from Omar that as well, that race, because he took a bit of a swing at a strategy which reality wasn't going to work, and then that last safety car just helped him out a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think he was going to struggle to get anywhere near podium, I think, on his original strategy with those two soft runs at the end. But yeah, sometimes you just got to be in the right place, haven't you, at the right time, and it kind of worked out well for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, I mean, I as we say, we did like his strategy and kind of understood it. But Bruce, do you want to take us through the provisional race results for the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Absolutely, yeah. So as you say, Merckx capping off a fine season in the Mercedes, taking the victory in Brazil, with Nick Houston an excellent second for himself as well. Omar in third with Volcano fourth, Maggot fifth, ARL good result for him in sixth. A nice patient race from the Alfa Romeo driver. Ashtube and Jack seventh and eighth with their race long battle. And Louis sticking at it after a bit of a tough start to the race, but coming home in an excellent ninth place. And Ryan, Brando, Reska, Destiny, and Ginger Tiger all DNFs.
Yeah, it's quite good from Louis. He's gone from maybe one or 0 points to 4 points in the end of the day, so nothing to be ashamed about there.
No, definitely, and it shows us, persevering. I know it's the end of the season. Whether those 4 points make a huge difference to Louis' season, I'm unsure. But yeah, it's always worth continuing. Get those points, and they do add up over the season. So yeah, fair play to him. I'd probably give him the Spirit of the Race award for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, him and Reshka are absolute stalwarts of staying in races and taking what potentially does come.
Yeah, definitely is. And as I say, these points do add up. It may not seem like much at the time, but yeah, and it's the only way you learn is by staying in the races as well. You don't learn anything from retiring. But yeah, fair play to them. Hopefully, we get some drivers in for some interviews in a minute.
Yes, I'm just putting a message in now. So we have Merckx in. Hopefully we'll get Nick Houston in as well.
I believe Nick has come in stealthily underneath Merck's notification there. So.
I believe he has, yes. Okay, so with us we will have Merckx and Nick Houston in the commentary box for the interviews. We'll also see if we can get a write-up from Omar, but we'll start off with Merckx. Congratulations, it's capping off a fantastic season, drivers champion, constructors champion, and just to round it all off with a victory tonight. I mean, you couldn't have had a better final race.
Yeah, it was a good last race. Annoying about the safety cars every time. Made the race a bit more difficult, but I was able to get away before the DRS came back in, which was lucky because I think it would have been probably a different result otherwise. But yeah, no, it was a good race, and yeah, happy to win.
Did you think that when you came in for your mediums, I mean, me and Bruce were wondering, I mean, obviously you kind of had to do it because otherwise everyone would have gained massive time on you in the pits, but would you agree that it was maybe slightly too early for them and it was going to be a hard task to nurse them to the end of the race?
I mean, it was slightly too early. I was going to pit lap 19. Obviously, the safety car came out on 15, so by the time the safety car came back in, it wasn't too bad. I was confident that I'd get to the end, and that the pace would be quick enough with Nick on the hards that I should have been able to keep the gap.
And before I come to Bruce, I mean, we noticed Brando was on a two-stop strategy by the looks of it. He went from soft to medium. Would that have worried you at all? Because obviously we know what the tyre delta is around Brazil, and it can be quite big. And with the undercut that he was looking to get on you before the incident with Reshka, were you worried about that two-stop strategy working for him and obviously having those fresh tyres at the end of the race?
Yeah, I think we saw at Mexico, two-stop can definitely work sometimes. Yeah, I think without the safety car, I think the race would have been a bit more different. I think there would have been probably 3 or 4 of us at the top fighting for first. But yeah, obviously the safety car came out and kind of ruined Brando's strategy, unluckily. But no, I think it would have been a good race, and yeah, he was definitely fast, so he would have been up there at the end for sure.
Bruce, do you have any questions for Mark?
Yeah, I was going to ask one similar lines about the medium tyres and get that gap you were trying to create to Nick, but I think you've pretty much covered that. But obviously you've had a pretty strong season this season again, winning the championship and the Constructors' Championship. We expect to see you next season for the new game and trying to defend your championship.
Yeah, hopefully. I think, from what we've seen from F1 24 so far, it doesn't look great. So hopefully there's a bit of an improvement there by the time the game fully comes out. But yeah, if all is well, then yeah, I look to be there next season, and hopefully like Nick and, Volcano and all that will be back as well for a good battle. I think with the new game, obviously, people will be probably putting in a lot of practice. So I think the grid order will be a bit, different to how it is at the current game.
Well, Mark, congratulations for this season and tonight. The Tier 1 Drivers' Champion, Constructors' Champion, and tonight's winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. We move on to second place, Nick Houston. Nick, congratulations, another podium, second place for you tonight. A little bit of a battle with Omar near the end of the race, but ultimately you just couldn't quite get to Merckx at the end to challenge him for that win.
No, GG to him. I think it was just quicker overall. It was maybe a 10 for or 2, but that 10 for 2 in the beginning, he could go out of my DRS, and he played it very smart with the restart. So he always had a gap of like 6, 7 tenths going into the second corner, and he could just pull away before the DRS. So he deserved to win. It was just quicker. I tried to in the last stint. I deployed all my battery to stay close, but eventually that also costed me a lot of time. But no, I just couldn't hold on.
See, and obviously you had that 5-place penalty from the game in qualifying. It was just very, very unfortunate for what it was for. But what was it like trying to get back through the pack at the start of that race, even though it was only 5 cars ahead of you? What was it like trying to get back through some of those cars to start with?
Yeah, it was quite eventful. There were a couple of collisions, so I gained 1 position, I think. And then everyone around me, except Volcano, was on a different strategy. So I just tried to stick in the DRS, because I was sort of trying to play the long game, but also because I eventually wanted to go to the softs instead of hard. But then in the end, I think, Volcano spun out, and then the soft runners, they started to slow down. So eventually I was only left with someone else on the hards, I believe. So it was kind of going okay. And the problem was that I think the Alpine, he had when the VSC came out, he dropped like a 4 or 5 second gap, so that also hindered a bit of progress. But overall, it was starting P6, it was okay. It was just very unfortunate because I literally got it for just driving around. I feel like the game was thinking I was blocking someone because an Alpha was just sticking behind me. So yeah, it is what it is. But it was okay race, and I think P2 was the maximum today. So.
Yeah, Bruce, do you have any questions for Nick?
Yeah, similar to the one I just posed to Merck. Really, obviously you've turned up, done the last sort of 3 or 4 races this season, shown you've had that sort of front running pace. If all is well with the new game and you join us for next season, are you expecting to be able to challenge Merck for that Drivers' Championship?
I just have to decide if I'm gonna start the game. I'm gonna switch to PC, so that should already maybe gain a 10th. I think in this game at least. I don't know if the next game is the same, but I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna do a game from what it looks now. Maybe I'm just gonna stick to iRacing, but I just have to think about that yet. I have not really made up my mind. But if side, but then from PC.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, congratulations. Obviously, you've only been with us for a part season, but the pace was there, and it was fantastic to watch you battle with the top guys as always. So, congratulations for your results this season.
Thank you.
Bruce, that's I would say the next track that we're looking forward to, but we don't know what that is because the next track will be the brand new season on the brand new game.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously a short gap till that season and calendar is announced, as you say, on the new game. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how it pans out. I've heard varying reports on people's opinions on the new one, so it'd be interesting to see exactly how it turns out. As you're aware, we've still got 1 race left to go in Invictus Racing League next week, and still 1 race this week as well with the RP.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that you mentioned that. Obviously, tomorrow we do have the finale of the Realistic Performance League from Brazil, where you'll end up getting a 12-lap sprint followed by the 36-lap feature race. Always going to be a great race, that one. And as we say, no racing apart from Tier 2 next week. Tier 2 are doing Brazil next week after they had a technical difficulty at Brazil a couple of weeks ago. They reran that race yesterday, so the final round got postponed till next week, and that will be brought to you by Jack, TM53 Synopsis, and Xerox. But Bruce, before we go, what's your sort of highlight of this season?
To be fair, I mean, there's been quite a few incidents that haven't been great, but generally the driving standards have been brilliant this year. We've been treated to some really, really good racing this season. I wouldn't say there's anything that really stands out, but it's just been a pleasure to commentate on, and the drivers have made our lives pretty easy, to be fair, with the commentary. Even when we've had a smaller grid, there's still been plenty of on-track action for us to talk about, and I think that's probably maybe that is the highlight of the season, is that the action's been so good throughout. It's been easy for us.
No, absolutely. I definitely concur with that, and we've seen many a great drive this season. I mean, Reshka, just to name one, when he was getting his podiums earlier this season on pure pace, was fantastic to watch, and a fantastic reward for him as a driver, because as we say, he continues to just drive around, pick up the points that he can. And it's been also quite good to see Louis, because we used to race Louis back in the old F3 days, and it's good to see his progression and the fact this season he has got quicker this season as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm obviously a little bit jealous of his pace increase over the last couple of seasons, but it's good, and I think we touched on it last week. Just to see someone developing their pace throughout the tiers, and I think we're going to see much the same with Lucas Blaha, obviously having a great season in Tier 2 this year after doing Tier 3 last season as well. So, it is good to see people progressing throughout the tiers in Invictus Racing League, and hopefully it will continue that way.
Well, that's all the time we have for Tier 1 tonight and for the season. It's been another fantastic season to commentate on, and season 19 isn't too far in the distant future. There will be announcements for it in due course in the Invictus Racing League Discord. So if you are watching and want to get involved in it, come along to the Discord and get all the information will be announced there. Obviously, when the sign-ups open, how you can sign up, and ultimately the process that gets gone through for that. But we hope you've enjoyed the commentary this season for Tier 1. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. But for myself and Bruce, thank you for watching this season for Season 18. And we hope to see you for Tier 1 Season 19 in, well, hopefully not too long a time. But for now, good night.